To honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday! This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Season 5, Episode 37, titled, Will It Be a Free Agent Frenzy for the Devils? I don't know. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Chico Resch, a great friend of the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, Chico.
All right. Happy birthday, Chico.
Yeah, Chico. Yeah.
I love that
Figured I'd
entrance.
throw
I'm
that in
sorry.
there.
I love the. Will it be a free agent frenzy? I don't know. It's like, will this car break down in 5,000 miles? You'll find out. I hope it will be.
Find out at 11.
Yeah. I hope the Devils will be doing something. I think now with Philip Forsberg off the radar, though, it's Johnny Gaudreau or bust as the big ticket item. And a lot of people, so this is what drives me crazy about like free agency and the Devils is there's a lot of people that'll be like, the Devils never get any big ticket free agent items, you know, like, or they don't go after any of the, well, bringing in Dougie last year kind of disproved that.
Yeah.
So hopefully they go after Gaudreau, but if they don't, there's some other like secondary options that they can get in, like Poulat or, you know, some other guys that they could look at. Do I expect them to do anything? We'll find out. I guess that's the that is the key. But it's going to be interesting. Next 4 days are going to be real interesting.
You know what I'm hoping for? He gives Matthew Tkachuk an offer sheet and forces Calgary to issue.
Ooh.
Who cares? They're on the West Coast. They're on the other conference.
We know that he tried to make the trade for Tkachuk. It's been reported that he tried to make that trade with the second overall pick. So, you know, he's trying to get him out there. And if you're going to do it, we always talk about these offer sheets and they never end up happening. And we always say like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Or we think it's going to happen, or somebody was talking about it. And they never seem to happen. This year would be a cool year to Fitzy to break that mold. I mean, there's a family connection between that too. So let's not get it twisted. Like, if he offer sheeted Tkachuk there is a pretty good chance that Tkachuk would be like, all right, cool, man. I'll come and hang out with my cousin. Like, we'll do it. So it's not out of the realm of like possibilities. Although I highly
It would be
doubt
awesome. It's like, I'll punish you for not taking the bait the first time around.
Oh, you don't want the second overall? Well, as DX used to say.
Yeah.
And then they have a full-on conversation.
It'd be interesting if he does that. Tkachuk would be a great fit for the team, obviously. That power winger that they've been looking for. So it would be. It's very rare though for these. It
is rare.
These offer sheets to go out there, and I know Tkachuk has said he wants to wait till Gaudreau. So we'll see what happens with Johnny Hockey.
Let's say that the Devils get Johnny Hockey, and then no, they'd have to offer sheet him before free agency, right? So, or could they do it after? Could they sign? I forget how the timeline works. Could they sign Gaudreau in free agency, and then immediately the same day just be like, bam, and like offer sheet Tkachuk in the same day?
If it's before, so. But I think it seems pretty settled that Gaudreau's going to wait here for the free agency. But Calgary's got a huge offer on the table for him already.
Well,
going above that is, I don't know.
He's got until Tuesday night. He's got until Tuesday night at 11:58 or 11:59 p.m. to figure out if he wants to take. Because if they offer him the 8-year max contract, that's the last time that he has to take that offer. So, there's a possibility that he could wait until like the last moment and then be like, okay, we'll sign. Like Forsberg, I think he signed today or yesterday, whatever it was. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that wait until the point of like free agency to happen, and then as soon as it like gets close enough where they're like, okay, well, the team will like up their ante because they definitely don't want to lose you. So I think that Calgary is going to hold their own and basically just calls bluff until the last minute. I don't think they're going to up the ante anymore. I don't think they're going to change their offer. I don't think they can. I think I think Calgary gave him an offer of like what they're able to give him. And yeah, like he's meant a lot to that team. And I don't think they want to lose him, especially to free agency. But, c'est la vie. If you can't figure it out, then he's going to test the waters. Now, it's not a foregone conclusion either that the Devils are going to be able to get him. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, well, if he hits free agency, like, New Jersey will definitely get him because he's from New Jersey. That's not necessarily like the,
Yeah, no.
That doesn't mean anything that he's from the state. In fact, he grew up a Flyer fan, and he grew up in South Jersey, closer to Delaware than he did to the Meadowlands. So
he calls it pork
it doesn't
roll.
mean he probably does. He definitely does. He probably calls it a hoagie or a sub. What do they call it? I lived there for a while. What the hell do they call it?
Hoagie.
A grinder? A hoagie. Can I get a hoagie?
Call you on the phone and sign the contract.
Yeah. So after listening to this podcast, they'll definitely want to come here. So there's a shot that he might not come here. And if that's the case, I feel like the downside is that everybody's going to freak out because it's like, oh my God, the Devils didn't do anything again. What, free agency is going to be screwed, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I don't think he's the end all be all. I think there's other options, and I feel like we're going to be okay if we don't get him. But if we do, then awesome. And if we do, circle back to the other thing that we're saying, maybe there is a chance that they are going to offer sheet Tkachuk, which would be insane. But push it on. If one fits, push it all in the middle. Push all your chips in the middle.
Or
push all the chips in the middle.
Here's an idea. Gaudreau goes to the Flyers. Tkachuk wants
It's not
out.
going to happen. They don't have enough space.
Hold on a sec.
Okay,
Fine.
okay.
Gaudreau goes somewhere. Tkachuk gets pissed. Wants out. Now a trade is in play versus an offer sheet. Offer sheet, I'd rather not do an offer sheet just because you got to give up the first rounders. Because Tkachuk could command about 8 to 11 million on the, in the restricted free agent market. You want to sign him long term at the age of 24. That would probably be the smartest move. I hope Gaudreau leaves Calgary, because what will that do for Tkachuk? The money will definitely be there, but would he want out? That's another question.
That's the real question with him, is if Gaudreau leaves, it's just what does he want to do? Because if Gaudreau leaves, then he's going to get that monster contract. If Gaudreau gets it, then they're going to be tight on cash. So, but if Gaudreau leaves,
dynamics of the team, though.
Exactly. If Gaudreau leaves, they're probably not going to be, where they were this past year. So it's a very difficult situation for Calgary. I think if they don't re-sign Gaudreau, that's going to blow up in their face, really. I think they're going to lose both of them at that point. But it'll be interesting. It definitely will be. I don't know. I don't see the Devils going after Gaudreau, but I'd see them targeting Matthew Tkachuk if they can.
Crap.
Yeah.
That's who I would see them trying to target.
Let me just put something into perspective. Maybe, just maybe, the Devils don't really do anything in free agency this year. Let's just say that they put an offer out to Gaudreau and he, balks at it and goes somewhere else. Maybe Philadelphia finds, $5 million in cap space, and they're able to fit his contract in. Have you looked at the free agent class for next year? So just for fun, I was like, let me pull this up just because I know people have talked about it before. Next year's free agent class, you have Patty Kane, you have Taves, you have Ryan O'Reilly, you have Tarasenko, James Van Riemsdyk, you have Pacioretty, Pastrnak, McKinnon, which a lot of these guys obviously are going to be probably signed between now and then, right? You have Timo Meier, you have Huberdeau, you have Jonathan Quick, you have Horvat, you have Gustav Nyquist, you have Jonathan Drouin, you have Joe Pavelski, Patrick Hornquist, JT Miller. You have Tyler Bertuzzi. You have a lot of big names. And I'm just scratching the Killorn. It's funny. Severson. Okay, that's the next name that was on the list I was going to read. You have a ton. Assuming that, let's say, half of these guys don't re-sign. Patrick Kane, I could imagine, doesn't re-sign because he wants to go somewhere else and probably get at least one more run at a cup. Same thing with Jonathan Taves. Thomas Tatar currently is on our team and will be a free agent that year too. But you have a lot of big names. Like, I don't think McKinnon's going to hit the open market unless the Avalanche are really strapped and they can't do anything, and McKinnon's asking the world. Huberdeau, that's another guy. Like, there's a lot. Dude, next year is the year that you're like, okay, if we really want to push everything in, do we wait this year and kind of hold back? And, like, if we only get a couple guys to, like, fill in certain spots, or maybe like this is our audition year where, okay, we're going to really promote like Alexander Holtz and a couple other guys to the big club and be like, this is your chance. This is your full season chance that you get to show us everything that you can do. And then next year you really push all in. I mean, I wouldn't be too disappointed. So I think a lot of people that are getting their hopes up, yeah, it's nice to get a Gaudreau, but if you don't get it, maybe there's a reason that they're not trying to push in for a lot more. So I don't know. There's a lot of names out there to be had.
If they can. If they drive up the price.
You screw over somebody like the Flyers.
Yeah. They're like, we'll give you 8.5, 9, 9.5. And then somebody puts in 11. Okay, you can have them. That kind of thing. Like an eBay bidding war. You know, it's funny. It's funny that you say that about 2023. The draft is going to be good. The free agency is going to be good. Devils salary cap situation. If I wrote that. I'm not trying to shamelessly plug, but I wrote that article on Pucks and Pitchforks of what if the Devils did nothing. Maybe it's an addition by doing nothing.
Dude, there's so many good people. There's so many good people. Donskoy, Kerfoot. I mean, it just. There's a couple guys that we need, like Ryan Graves, that we need to tie up. But there's enough people on that list that you're like, I think we could fill up what we need to fill up. Richie, like there's, golly,
yeah, I don't really think there's any big need for us to go out and overspend on Johnny Gaudreau this year. I really don't.
What? How much would you spend for him?
I wouldn't even get involved in that bidding. That just seems like just a lot of money tied up into one player. You're going max contract, max years.
Gaudreau, you wouldn't do like 9 or 8.5.
Nope.
I think Tkachuk is more valuable than Gaudreau for the Devils.
100%. He's younger, and he's more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's someone that I think they should target more. If they can work a move like that, then that's more exciting to me. I don't know. Signing Johnny Gaudreau, yeah, I mean that's great, but that's you're locked then. I mean you're gonna eventually go through exactly what the Blackhawks are going through right now, where they have to give away so many of their good players because they got a couple guys on these monster contracts.
Yeah, but look at what it cost them: 3 cups. So you're talking about like
we don't have the 3 cups. We don't have the 3 cups yet. They had 2 before they got those big contracts. You know, like that's a different story right there. We're giving it away before we even got it. So we don't even have 1 or 2.
Sam, is there any way you could look up what the cost would be to offer sheet Matthew Tkachuk? I know it's going to cost you at least a first this year,
I think it's going to for his. It's going to probably, depending upon what you offer him, he's probably within the 8 to 10 million range. It's going to 4 first-round draft picks, I would assume.
4? You think 4 first rounders?
He's on the higher tier in his salary. It's based on. It's
going to cost you 2.
Oh yeah,
it's going to cost you 2.
Yeah.
Unless of course you have a family meeting without tampering and say, "Look, Matt, we're gonna throw you a stupid contract, so we just give up 1 first rounder. But trust me, Uncle Tommy is going to really give you a nice contract afterwards if you keep your mouth shut."
Refigure, yeah. I mean,
I'm kidding, of course. We have
over a barbecue. Hey, come over for a barbecue. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have some burgers and dogs. We're gonna talk a little hockey. Not a lot, just a little.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And you know what? The thing is like, I know there's a lot of people that were like pissed off that that the Devils took Nemec with the 2nd overall pick, and I have to say, I am super happy they did. I would have liked Wright. Oh, yeah. I would have liked Cooley. I was pumped about any of those 3. It was Wright, Cooley, or Nemec. After the Montreal made their pick, I was like, all right, you get any of those 3, I think you're in good shape. And Nemec, I think, is going to be an absolute stud. And this kid is already going to be jumping into the NHL right away. So, he's going to have his bumps and bruises the first year, and people are going to scream and yell because, Shane Wright might go out to Seattle and have a Calder Cup, type of year, have a Calder Trophy type of year where he puts up like, monster numbers or something like that. But I think Nemec over time is going to be a way more valuable pick. And I'm really pumped that they did that. But hearing that they tried to give up that number 2 pick to get Tkachuk to the Devils, who knows what else they offered in it? Like, who knows, like, what they would have had to try to pry away from the Devils to try to get that deal done, and what they turned down. And I know a lot of that stuff is like behind the doors. We'll never know. But I would love to see what the actual offer was for Matthew Tkachuk. It was the number 2, but what else? Like, were you like, oh, it's number 2 and Pavel Zacha? Like, yeah, no kidding. They like laughed you off the road, but was it like?
Well, we don't even know if there wasn't. We don't know if there was an official offer made. We just know that they talked about things. We don't know about an official offer.
I don't know. If we don't know. From what I was reading, it seemed like there was an official bid.
Seems like they were shopping the second pick, but I don't think they ever, I don't think there was ever an official offer made. By the way, Tkachuk's hit is $7 million a year, so that puts him in that
now
upper echelon. So yeah, that would be a pretty big. I think that would be 2 to 3
honestly,
first
Bear
rounders.
Baron. If I was going to guess, it was probably Fitzgerald calling, saying, "Hey, we want Tkachuk. We're willing to take our second overall. Any interest? Nah," and hung up. That's probably what it was. It probably wasn't a short conversation.
Or what would it take type of deal. And I'm sure they asked the moon, and that was just like, okay, see you later. And I think also that shows, I think that the Devils had Slavkovsky, pegged as their pick, because Matthew Tkachuk and him are both very similar type of players. What he's projected to be. And I know a lot of people are, you got to take the best player. I think, the next best player that they had drafted was Nemec. And I think they did. I think they took who they thought is going to be the best player. And yeah, Shane Wright, he may look good, but he projects to be exactly the same player as Nico Hischier. So I'm just not sure if you draft a Shane Wright where you're going to play him, because line 1 and line 2 is wrapped up right now. And we have a lot of depth in that center position. The defense, man, our defense is looking pretty good right now with the prospects and the pipelines coming through. And we got 4 big boys that are going to be coming through this year. The Ahoy Tukes, the Ball, the Riley Walsh. Go ahead, Sam. Give me his last name again. Vukojevic. What is it again?
Vukojevic.
No, it's Vukojevic.
So you're saying it wrong. Vukojevic. There we go. Vukojevic. So we know we're going to see them. I don't know if we're going to see Nemec just yet this year. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a year down at the AHL. We know he's going to be playing over here in North America. If he does make it out of camp, who knows? Could be like a Dawson Mercer. But I would expect at least a season of him down there filling out a little bit, getting bigger, and learning that North American style. But I'm super excited that Nemec and his agent came to Fitzy and said that he wants to come to North America and play this year. Doesn't want to spend more time over in Europe. So get him adjusted to that game, the sooner the better. So maybe it won't take 2 years to see him. Maybe he does. Maybe he flies through in the AHL and he sees a call up mid-season or something like that, an injury or something. We'll have to see. But I wouldn't count, unless it's a Dawson Mercer type situation. I wouldn't think he makes the team out of camp. However, though, they did just announce their rookie camp. And you could be sure that a lot of guys that we just drafted are all going to be there. We're talking about Charles Leddy, Ethan Edwards, Nemec, Casey. Who's the other guy that, now that I can't remember. Jesper's brother, Philip, is going to be there.
Philip Brett, who's wearing number 64, by the way. That's kind of cute.
Mm-hmm. What's his name again? I still every time I say it, I forget it. Vukojevic will be there. There's a lot of guys. Tice Thompson, Holtz,
Alex Holtz, Tice Thompson,
Chase
Nolan
Stillman,
Foote,
Chase Stillman, who is a player
Xavier
who also projects.
By the way,
so go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Good.
No, I just want to say something of interest that you're bringing all these guys up. Normally, guys get the training camp numbers, but Nemec is already penciled in at number 5. So you can imagine that's going to be his number going forward.
That's a good sign over there. I mean, well, it doesn't really matter anymore, I guess, because we're out of the Lou era, so I guess numbers really don't count anymore.
Sort of.
But
they do and they don't.
You see
James Casey's going to be there.
And Yep. Casey, who we just drafted as well. But Nolan Foote and Chase Stillman, 2 others that are projecting to be power forwards right there. Stillman also has a big resemblance to Mr. Tkachuk. So it'll be nice to see where Chase Stillman comes along.
In the same league. He's not in the same league as Tkachuk. But...
Well, obviously now.
Even,
that's how they're projected in the old scouting reports. If you're going to compare them, that's the type of style, that's the type of game that Chase Stillman plays. Graham Clark, who we know had a hell of a junior season with Mr. Jack Hughes. What did Clark scored like 80-some goals or something somewhere in one of those leagues with Jack Hughes when they were aligned with Cole Caulfield and stuff. So excited to see what Graham Clark can bring to the table here.
I don't know if you're right about that one.
Yeah, wasn't Clark with?
I don't think it's. No, that was. I think that's his brother. Tyler, but going to the goaltenders, though, Schmidt's going to be there. Dawes going to be there. The new draft pick, Brennan, is going to be there. Cole Brady, and a couple other guys. But they have a lot of the guys from last year's draft and this year's draft joining, and then a lot of people were like, "Oh, I guess Luke Hughes is too good." He actually is too good, because he's playing for the World Juniors, and he's getting ready for that. So that's why he's not going to be at the development camp.
Oh, no, I'm right here. Graham Clark made a name for himself playing alongside Jack Hughes in 2016-17, racking up 82 goals in 81 games before being selected 6th overall by the Ottawa 67s in the OHL draft. So, yeah, down in juniors. They tore it up together.
Oh, okay. All right, I stand corrected.
So
Kevin,
all these guys are going to. What's that? No, I'm just saying that all these guys are going to be here at the rookie camp, the developmental camp, and it's going to be really fun to see these guys already. Everyone's talking, well, you drafted, we're not going to see him for 3 or 4 years. Well, you're going to get a little glance right here, and we're going to see some of these guys definitely in training camp as well. But this rookie camp, this development camp is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. We saw Alexander Holtz kind of struggle last year. Is he going to make the strides this year? Does he need another year at the AHL level? We saw when he came up, he looked lost. Nolan Foote really didn't make a big splash like we hoped. Tice Thompson was injured. Fabian Zetterlund has shown a lot of grit and a lot of determination and broke that lineup. Will there be someone else? I'm really excited about Nemec and Casey both being at this developmental camp too. And also Ethan Edwards, who will be, all 3 of them, Casey, Edwards, and Luke Hughes, will be together at Michigan this season.
At Michigan, yeah.
Holy hell. Get that Big Ten network. If you don't have
Ethan
it,
Edwards,
start watching those Michigan games.
So, There's a lot of chatter going on many of the different platforms that we have. So thank you for everybody. Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live. There's a couple questions. One coming from Donnell Weaver that says, I asked Sam Wu the same question. Scotty and Beer Baron, what do you guys think, or what do you rate the Devils draft? I guess this year. The draft this year, I wouldn't say I was very surprised that they went so D-heavy, but I want to give it a solid B+. I feel like it was a very solid draft for the team. I feel like they addressed a lot of the right-hand defensive needs that not just the big club has, but the farm system has. Because if you look at the right-handed defensemen in the system, there's not a lot. There's very slim pickings. So the fact that they made it a point to really address that, getting Seamus at the second pick, flipping their second pick and another pick with Washington and getting a goaltender that could be our 1A, 1B with Mackenzie Blackwood. I think it was a great deal. And I think it was a move that made a lot of sense for the team, and it made a lot of sense in this draft because you started seeing a lot of guys, Husso going to Detroit, and you see a lot of guys starting to make these moves that you knew that you were going to have to overpay Kemper or Campbell in free agency. And I think that Fitzgerald made a wise choice going after Vanek at the price that he got him at. Did I say his name right?
Round pick. Vanacek. VTech.
VTech.
Not
VTech.
Vanacek. Like I was saying. It's VTech Vanacek.
VTech Vanacek. I said
I
Vanek.
give it a solid.
Screwed up.
I give him a solid B+ as well. Kind of borderlining close to A there, and mainly because of the trade. Really, that trade, we were all looking really for that out. First day. That first day is like, oh, we're going to get the second. We're going to flip that second pick. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we do? No. We got a really, really good defenseman who I said this the other day on Devils After Dark. I think, Fitzy, some of these picks are kind of going to be like a Christopher Nolan movie where you see it the first time, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you see it again, you're like, now I get it now.
On. I get it.
I understand it now. Oh, that's what he meant right there. And I think in a couple of years, these picks are going to turn out to be really, really sweet, especially on the defensive side. You can never have too many right-handed defensemen like that. They're not all going to work out, but it's good to have backup. And getting, Vanacek basically for your third-round pick, who was a second-round pick himself a few years back.
Yeah.
And he's only 26 years old. Or is he 27? What was it, Sam Wu? Can't remember if he was 26 or if he was 27.
26
turning,
and
gonna turn 27.
It's funny what happened to Henrik Lundqvist. And here's
still
this guy.
That's all I wanted to say. Go ahead.
It's funny what happened to Henrik Lundqvist. Not what happened to him, but they get Henrik Lundqvist. He goes out with that heart condition, surgery. Here's this guy that comes in and challenges Samsonov's position, as the number one. No wonder Washington Capital fans were hooting and hollering on social media.
They were pissed.
Just same with Siegenthaler.
We stole Siegenthaler, and now we're swiping Vanacek.
And that was the same kind of vibe, because when we got Siegenthaler, there were people, Devils fans were like, "Who the hell is Siegenthaler? Like, what? Who cares about this guy? Blah 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 blah. He's like a eighth defenseman on their team." But here's how you can gauge if it's a good trade. If you go to the other team's Twitter, if you go to their MySpace or whatever, MySpace. Wow, this is Bolera Snort. It's really strong.
You go to
beer.
hfboards.com.
If you go to their AOL Instant Messenger and you ask their age, sex, and location, they'll tell you that they are not happy.
ASL question mark.
ASL question mark. So,
good Lord,
Jesus. So when the Devils got Siegenthaler, it was a very underrated move, and there was a lot of people on the Devils side of it that were like, "This is stupid. It doesn't make sense. He's not even like a top six, blah blah blah." But the thing is, when you went over to the other side of the Capitals side of it, and we talked about it when it happened, Capitals fans were pissed. Why would you give up this guy? Oh my God, he was the next in line, blah, 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 blah. Why would you do this? This makes no sense. So it felt like very similar to when they made this. Well, when they made this trade, because Scott Stevens almost screwed the Devils. When they made this trade, I looked over. I was like, let me go flip over the other channel and see what the Capital fans are saying, and they were freaking out. They're like, "Oh, he should have been over Samsonov for the number one position next year." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Hey, all right, good. This is good." They're not like, "Oh, good, numbers. Have him."
He's got good numbers over 2 years.
He's got good numbers.
That's what I was talking
He's
about
5-on-5 is great. His PK his PK save percentage is a little bit lower than you want it to be, but 5-on-5 he's great. He's a goaltender that I'm sorry, Blackwood. If you're not on your A game, this guy will steal the net. He's not an aging veteran.
Push. Yeah, he's gonna push. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's only 26, and he's an
only
RFA.
26, and he wants to be a starter. And I'll tell you what, Fitzgerald already talked about an extension. So he's already talking about extending this kid. If I were Blackwood, I'm like, damn, I'm a UFA next year. Unless they deal Blackwood, unless he's an RFA. Unless they have a deal. No, he's a UFA next year.
He's an
sure
RFA.
about capfriendly.com.
Is he an RFA? Okay.
Yeah.
RFA then.
Yeah, that's even better because his arbitration available.
After Dark hosts.
Yeah.
We know our stuff.
Yeah.
We just can't pronounce names.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, we're just bad at pronouncing
Welcome to my world.
No, but yeah, I think it's a brilliant move on Fitzy's part there, because it's almost a la like our good pal Corey Schneider, but when he was stuck in Vancouver for those first couple of years, when he really wanted out, and him and Luongo going back and forth. And by the time we got him, we missed a couple of those golden years, but Corey still had some time to shine. But I feel like we're getting Vanacek on that early front now, where he did. Go as this number one goaltender. Blackwood, we have seen the flashes from him, but we've also seen just the inconsistency, just every single season, something comes up, something's up, and I know he's got a lot of potential, but guess what? This year, you can't have the Hamburglar, you can't have the go-go gadget Gillies, you can't have a questionable 1B like we had with Bernier and Crawford. Two guys coming in with issues that they were trying to cover up. And then they threw Blackwood in too early when he was injured still with his heel, and he really got messed up. So it's just, I think the trade with Vanacek was just, I think it was a steal. I really do. It's flipping the third round because we still got a second round pick and we got a defenseman who, he was, one of the top defensemen
Scotty?
in this. What's up?
I gotta tell you, when I was talking about karma before, do you know how many Devils After Darks we did when the Devils played the Caps and they lost 8 in a row, and Tom Wilson was hitting from behind, injuring players? So to all the Capital fans, I'm glad you're hooting and hollering and pissed because I enjoy ripping you off. I like Siegenthaler. I don't even care anymore.
Who did we trade for? Was that Marcus Johansson? When he last the last quarter of the season? Is that who we traded?
General Johansson? Yeah, he got mowed down in the trenches. And
then shipped
the
out
cavalry
next year.
Yeah. After all that, we couldn't beat the Capitals. We always lose in terrible fashion. We left Alexander Ovechkin all alone just to get schooled, in front of the net.
500th goal.
All that stuff.
Or 600 goal. Which one was it that he scored against us? 500, right?
7. Was it 7? 700.
700? I thought it was. I don't remember.
But I will say this:
milestones against us.
The Devils have been a bunch of cheap asses in the past 10 years, but weaponizing the cap and having that cap space to really just have that flexibility so we can rip off other teams, I'm enjoying it right now. And I think it goes back to the whole thing with Gaudreau that if you pay him $12 million a year to come, I'm just making up a number, it's going to, you can't weaponize it anymore.
Yeah.
Just remember
it's
that.
Gone. And we should mention this real quick because we've been talking about it. Blackwood possibly, being shopped around. We've heard rumors of that for a while now. But also, our good friend Kevin Weeks tweeted out that the Devils obviously shopping Pavel Zacha as well. Can see a lot of teams that maybe need that bottom six type of center or winger who can, play some defense as well and be a two-way center. I don't know if you're ever going to get that true scoring touch like we thought we were going to get 2 seasons ago when Pavel was lighting it up. He just went back to being too inconsistent last year, and I think that might be the story of his game. But he still has a lot of value as well, I think, in a bottom six role. And I'm sure there's some teams out there that could use someone like that. Especially with maybe some salary cap relief or anything like that. Teams trying to fit some people in. What was he making? About 2.5. He's an RFA. He's a UFA. No, he's an RFA. He's an RFA.
RFA.
So he's going to be due for somewhat of a raise.
I think it was like 3.5 or something like that.
I can't remember what it was.
I will say if they're looking to trade him, usually like if a guy's name comes up like once or twice, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's like, a name that somebody will kind of grab onto, but his name has come up so consistently in the last 2 years where like usually the old saying, if there's smoke, there's fire. Like with Zacha, it feels like there's definitely a lot of interest in like who he is. He's a former first round sixth overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
He's got potential. He's got potential to be a decent 20 to 25 goal, maybe plus scorer. I know some people will be like, what? Like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, Zacha coming up was really projected higher than what he's become. If he gets a fresh start somewhere else, maybe he does become like that really legitimate top, not second line, third line center or something like that. He's not a bad player. He's good on the PK. He's good on the power play. I mean, our power play sucks, so anybody's good on the power play. He has a lot of upside. It's hard for us to see that because like it's like looking at something that you've owned forever and you're like, oh, this thing doesn't have any value, but somebody else will look at it and be like, dude, I'll give you like 10 grand for that painting. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you even do that? My kid painted that. So,
well, yeah, no. And I think like you hit the nail on the head there with we as fans and as an organization, I believe had him, pegged for a higher role, but he may be best suited down in that bottom 6 type of role instead. And like you said, will he get 25? I don't know. That might be like a career year for him, but I can see him in like the high teens to 20-ish range, throughout the year. It's just his inconsistency. He can go on like 10, 12 game, like, goalless streaks there. And it's just, then he'll get he'll get a hat trick in a game, but then like 9 more, he won't score, then he'll go like 3 games in a row. And then it's
But would you be shocked? Would you be shocked to see him go somewhere else and be like,
no.
relatively successcesual? Neither would I.
No.
He totally strikes me as a dude that like you ship him to Vancouver and all of a sudden he's like a 30 goal scorer and people are like, oh, why did we give up on Zacha so quickly? But this is a problem of like there's so many fans right now that are so willing to give up on him. I always look at it as like, you know what? We have him on a cheap. I don't think he's as bad as everybody says he is. He's not a defensive liability. Like he's not going to go out there and really wow you, win the Selke, but like you could put him in different circumstances where like if we're down by a goal, you could put Zacha out there. If you're up by a goal, you could put Zacha out there because defensively he's become a hell of a lot better. And I think he's a lot more sound. He just doesn't score like you want him to score. And I really think if the Devils drafted him at like 15 plus in the first round, everybody would be like, this dude is great. But because he was the number 6 overall pick in that draft, everybody takes a giant dump on him. And I think it's unfair. It's like, yeah, like you have to look at a guy at his production, not at his draft status. And like Nemec, people freaked out about how could we do this? How could we do this? Shane Wright, we had Cooley was there, Shane Wright was there. It's like, yeah. But you're drafting for different needs. This team needs a right-handed defenseman. Subban's gone. He's gone, and he was gone even when he was here. He was not the same Subban. He's gone. You're bringing in a young kid whose metrics are through the roof. What people need to understand is that this could be the steal of the draft, getting him at number 2. This could be the Makar of the draft. I'm not saying he will be. I'm saying it could be. Don't get that twisted.
No,
like,
I mean,
two different statements. But like,
he's got the talent.
He's got the
for
metrics to back it up.
Yeah, he's got the talent for it.
If you walk away from the draft this year with a defenseman that could be a game-changing defenseman, the way like a Makar could be, and then you also have a defenseman the year before in Luke Hughes, who's already starting to show signs that he could be on that same wavelength as a Makar, because you watch what he's doing freshman year as like an 18, 19-year-old in Michigan. You watch what he's doing there. The Devils could be so set on defense.
Oh yeah,
that you could do the Avalanche. You could do what the Avalanche just did and get a Kemper who's a mid-range goaltender. He's not a Vasilevsky. He's not a lights-out goaltender. You get a mid-range goaltender, and you can still take a deep run at the cup. So, I don't know. Looking at Zacha, a lot of people want to freak out because of where he was drafted, and I'm just like, you know what? Don't over-evaluate what he is. Just accept him for who he is, and just be happy with it. If we going back to everything that we're saying before, if the Devils don't make a single move, if they bring Zacha back, if they bring all these guys back, and you basically have the team from last year with better goaltending, with hopefully a healthy Blackwood, and now Vanacek coming in, this team could be a hell of a lot better.
As long as Jack Hughes stays healthy, they'll win a lot more games.
That too.
And with Vanacek, they'll win a lot more games just in general. They're gonna win more games just with those two players in the lineup right there. And with Zacha, I mean, you're right. A lot of other teams can value him for everything that he can do. Like Enna said, I think as an organization and us as fans, we had him, on a bigger scale, and we're not getting what we thought we were going to get out of him. And it could be that he feels the pressure as well to perform to that level that everyone thought it was going to be. And will he be a 30-goal scorer? He has the talent for it, but I just don't think he's got, I don't know if it's just, the headspace, just getting on himself too much, or just getting into these streaks where he goes those long periods of time on those goal droughts. But I can see him, doing well in somewhere I know Vancouver was talking about him last year, possibly that they were interested, because he wouldn't be a top line center there. He would immediately go down into that bottom six. And yeah, he could probably do well there when you have some other superstars to make up for that goal differential. Once we lost Jack, that was a big hit for us last year. And Zacha, we relied on the previous season. He went to sleep for large portions of the season. Other than Jesper Bratt, there wasn't a lot of consistency out there. I know Nico broke that 60-point mark, which was great. He had a few injuries, losing Dougie. That's a huge thing as well. On the defensive side, but he creates so much offense too. Ty Smith taking a step backwards. There were some things that were happening there. But I don't know. I think Pavel, his time with the team might be done. I think with the return of a Miles Wood, with the Chase Stillman, with a Nolan Foote pushing to see if they're going to get some playing time, I think a change of scenery might be good for him, where he doesn't have that pressure to play as this, potential. Don't forget that year too. There were so many monsters in that draft. It was so deep. Zacha was even, at times scouted even higher than 6,
He was, there's a lot of people that were, for the way he played with the Sirena Sting. He was physical. He could score. He had hands. There's a lot of people that were
fall, though. He took that nasty fall.
Yeah.
He hit the back of his head. He got knocked out. That took a long time, I think, for him to get over. Just the fear of probably having that happen again.
There were a lot of people that were comparing him not to Ovechkin, but were saying he's an Ovechkin-like player, a guy that could score, who could throw his body around, who's a big force on the ice. And when the Devils drafted him, I remember leading up to that draft, I was like, dude, if they can get Zacha at 6, oh my gosh, it's going to be great. And if you want to watch a really funny clip, you watch Nate Baston's reaction to being drafted to the Devils. He goes, I get to play with Zacha. Oh my God. He was like so pumped because Zacha was at that point was like way, like you said, way up on that board of like, this is going to be an elite, NHLer eventually. But that's the thing is like, there's sometimes where there's guys that are a sure bet. Like you draft them and you're like, oh yeah, it's Connor McDavid. How can you miss?
Mm-hmm.
And there's guys that are like, he'll be nothing. And then you're like, oh, God, Martin St. Louis, welcome to the NHL. And then there's guys that are like, you know what, you're going to be great. And they never achieve where you want them to achieve. And that's Pavel Zacha. Like, I feel like if he was drafted, like I said before, between 12 and 30, everyone would have been like, yeah, he's great. He's perfect. He's exactly what you want him to be. But because he was a top 6,
I would still say he needs to be more consistent on the offensive side. It's just too long with the goal droughts. That's what hurts him so much, and it hurts the team.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, if he was drafted later than where he was, people will be content that he is what he is. But because you get 6, you're talking top 10 in the NHL draft. You have to produce, but
NHL draft, a deep
draft. We could have had Barzell. It's like, dude, yeah, you could redraft every year, and you could just be like, oh, we could have had Colin McCarr. Like,
the Flyers are trying to get rid of Provolov now, trying to make
Provorov
for Provolone. They're trying to get rid of Provolone over there. Make room for Johnny Gaudreau.
But Provolone's great at cheesesteak. Where'd you get that?
Yeah. I mean, that's just one of the things, they got that. He's got a big contract now. It's one thing I'm glad we didn't get stuck with Zacha is some huge monster contract where it may be impossible to move right now. Also, that's the thing too. Pavel Zacha is very attractive to other teams because he doesn't cost a lot of money,
and people see and they see value.
Yeah. And he's restricted. He's a restricted free agent right now, so it makes it a lot easier. That's also part of it he can play, like you said, he can play when you have when you're in a lead, you can play when you're from behind over there, but it's the consistency. Yep. I just don't think we can put him in that top 6 role, bottom 6. Yeah. But like I said, and we've said numerous times here, like for where he was drafted, for what the expectations were for this franchise, it might be different for other organizations, but for this one, not only the team and the fans as well, we expected more from him, and it didn't come through. It's not that he's not an NHL caliber player. He is, but not in the role that we were hoping for.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Because like if it would have worked out the way it would have worked out, he would have been that power forward where we would need to go and try to offer sheet a Tkachuk. Which, by the way, going back to that comment. When we're talking about offer sheeting Tkachuk, back on YouTube Live, Shane Van Sickle and Keith Martin were both saying it would cost four first-round picks. 4.
That's why you don't do that.
And I know people, but you know what? Some people will be like, oh, it's worth it. 4 first-round picks, unless you're buying your way back into the first round, that is a lot. And then I have to say, Keith Martin brought up a great point. He goes, 4 first-round picks plus that revenge offer sheet on guys like Holtz or Mercer or Hughes or Nemec.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That, if you don't think that happens, that happens.
Oh, yeah.
There's teams that are like, because offer sheets in the NHL are considered to be like bad pool. Like, you don't do that. Mm-hmm. If you're a good GM, you do not offer sheet somebody else. Right. It's like going up to someone's girlfriend and hitting on them in a bar. Like you don't go up to someone's girl and you be, oh, I'm going to hit on you. Like you don't do that in front of like that. To me, an offer sheet is a bad form. It's bad form.
Look what happened.
I love when
look what happened with Montreal. No, Montreal and Carolina, and the offer sheet
with Aho.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
It makes for good headlines and fun stuff to talk about.
Does.
But
I remember
in the end, I don't think it's a good idea for Fitzy to make that offer sheet. I think it was a good idea for him to try and say, hey, I'm thinking about trading that number 2 pick. What else would it take to get Kachuk? You know, I think that's where those talks went. And they were probably like, well, a first round next year, a first round after that, you know, like probably a Jesper Bratt and someone else.
When we talked about it before, we're kind of like,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I actually got audio of the conversation, the reaction of the Calgary. No, not that one. Sorry.
Good job hitting the wrong sound effect there.
Yeah, they were pumped. They were super pumped, and then they're like, "Oh no, we should laugh about it." Yeah,
no, I'm sure Calgary asked for the moon, and I'm sure Fitzy was like, "All right, well, you know, we'll get some poutine next time we're up there in Canada, and we'll see you later then." You know, you know that's it. Yeah. I think that's basically as far as it went. I think Fitzy was trying to shop that. Then number 2, just putting the feelers out there, but I don't think there was any real concrete offers or anything like that.
Yeah, but I really wonder if let's say Gaudreau walks, if he gets so like kind of just disappointed in the situation,
if he walks,
like, you know what, screw this.
And Kachuk walks, poor Pickles.
Like
poor
Pickles. Poor Pickles. Hey, you know what though? Poor Pickles. He's got 2 cups. He got his 2. Yeah. He got his 2. Let him be.
That's true.
He's happy now. But imagine if Gaudreau signs either with us or anybody else, and Kachuk is a UFA in 2 years, and he's just like, you know what? Screw this. I don't want to be here anymore. Mm-hmm. And the Devils could swoop in the year after
and make a splash then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like. If as an NHL fan and as a Devils fan, we get so diluted with our own team and we put on the blinders and we don't think about anybody else. And when I guess this goes for anybody in any franchise or any fan base. Whenever free agency comes up and there's like the top free agents, you're automatically like 100% they want to sign with the Devils. 100% they want to live in Hoboken and pal around with Jack Hughes. Like, yeah, why not? In reality, like, these are human beings that have to make decisions based on like their family, their friends, or whatever, and their career, and they want to make wise decisions that are going to put them in the best position that they're going to be in. So you look at teams, there's teams that don't even get a sniff at any of these free agents, and the fact that like we got Dougie last year was amazing, and kind of out of the blue. Because we don't normally get that like number 1, prospect out in the free agency world. But I will say that there's a lot of promise with this team, that there's a lot of like, a young attitude with this team. There's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? So there might be a couple guys that are like, hey, I'm not looking to rebuild at the age of 30 where I'm trying to chase a cup. But there might be a couple guys in their mid-20s that are like, all right, you know what?
Like
we'll do this. Like a Vanacek, or you look at some of the guys that are coming up in as free agents this year that are not Johnny Gaudreau and that second level. And I think that we can go after them.
Yeah. No, I think this year is going to be a lot different for the team. I think with actually having some goaltending back there that, as we said on Devils After Dark, has a save percentage in the 900s at least. I think it's going to make a big deal, and I think a full season of Jack Hughes is going to make a tremendous impact on this team. Yeah. But we need to protect him as well, which is, a reason to have a Matthew Tkachuk or maybe a Nolan Foote or Chase Stillman, make or break their way into the NHL this year. We're going to see a lot. This development camp is going to be a lot of fun seeing these guys. These are the guys we've been talking about. Plus, is
Fabian Zetterlund on that list?
No, he's past it. Nope.
He's past the list.
Ball, Riley Walsh. Oh, man.
Hoytuk's on there, isn't he?
Nope. Just Vijek. Oh, man. Vukovic.
Vukovic.
What is it?
Vukovic.
Vukovic. Just Vukovic is on there from those 4. But you can expect to see Walsh, Hoytuk, and Ball obviously in training camp, fighting for a position, 100%. I expect them to be there. Like this is their time right now. These next 2 years for those 4 prospects in general, and then you got Muhammad Doolin coming after that, hopefully. Then you have a Nemec. Probably I'd still say he gets. I mean, who knows? He may Mercer it and make a splash in training camp and win that position right out of the bat. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him 1 year in the AHL at least, just to get used to the North American game. But then you have the Nemec, Casey, Luke, and hopefully Muhammad Doolin in that next wave coming right after that. Maybe some of those get traded for a big winger. You never know. Defensive prospects, especially those right-handed shots. Woo, they are mighty available. Oh, Edwards too. Forgot to mention Edwards. They're all going to be at that development camp. Holtz, Foote, Tice Thompson, Graham Clark. This is big for all these prospects that we've been talking the last 2 or 3 years. Oh, just wait for Talavini, wait for Graham Clark, wait for Chase Stillman. We got Nolan Foote, Alexander Holtz, baby. He's got a rocket. This is these next 2 years. It's going to be these time for these prospects.
Get them rolling.
Yeah.
Get them rolling.
Yeah.
Get them and you know what? This is what you draft for.
Yeah.
This is why you draft. This is why you get you put in all those hard hours of trying to figure out who's going to be the next one. We're in a point now where these kids have to step up and make a name for yourself. Be the next Pandolfo, be the next Madden, be the next guy, be the next Gomez, be the next guy that came into the lineup and made a name, like an impact immediately.
How about Sergei Brelin, who's the coaching most of them down there as the assistant in the AHL with Kevin Dineen. This is going to be their time for those prospects that we've been talking about. The ones we're talking about now, maybe like 2 years, maybe 3 years. But the ones we've been talking about, it's their time.
Yeah.
Let's see it. Tice Thompson coming back from injury. I'm excited about Chase Stillman. Sam Wu has told me a lot about Chase Stillman in the past. He's going
to shock a lot of people.
Graham Clark. Want to see this? He's got some magic with Jack Hughes. Let's not hide it. Let's see what we can get out of that.
Yep, agreed.
It's going to be their time. This developmental camp is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, besides the fact that we haven't had hockey for a while, but it's just a lot of fun to have that developmental camp coming.
You ready for final thoughts?
Yeah, you want to go ahead?
I'll go first. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter recently, I put out a post that said, enough with the infighting, enough with the BS that goes on with a lot of the Devil fans out there. And it's time to put all the things aside and just come together and unite as a fan base. And I truly mean that. And there's probably a lot of people that need to listen to this, need to listen to this, that are not going to hear it tonight and may never hear anything that I'm saying right now, or never even check in, a thing that I put on Twitter or any of these social media platforms. But I will say this. If there's anybody out there that truly has this disdain or hate or dislike for any of us or for Sam, especially Sam, poor Sam, who gets a lot of it, who I have to say, through all the crap that he gets, stands there with a smile and just goes, it's okay. It's okay. For anybody that gives us crap,
these fans are idiots.
What? Oh, Sam, I'm trying to build a bridge, man. Don't burn it down before I build it.
Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt
you.
Go ahead.
Anybody that's saying anything negative about what we do or any of us, the only thing that I will say to you is the next time we do a live event, if we're doing it at outside of the arena before a game, if we're doing a live event at some random bar in New Jersey, who cares where we're doing it? I invite every single one of you, any one of you jerks that say we suck, any of these people that are have anything negative to say, something negative to say. No. If you got something negative to say, I invite you to a live event. And the thing I will tell you this is we will win you over. You will hang out with us. You'll have a great time. You will either walk away as friends or you will walk away with a mutual respect. And that's all we expect at the end of it. We're all in the same boat. We all root for the same team. Enough with the division, enough with the infighting, enough with the garbage, enough with the toxicity that consumes this fan base on a regular basis. We come together, we root for this team, and we unite as one. And that's all I have to say.
Very nice, Beer Baron.
Thanks, bud.
Very
Scotty?
nice. I'm still searching for the date here for the developmental camp. I can't seem to find it anywhere.
Way to follow up a
this
speech
week.
like that.
This week.
Yeah. Oh, it's this week. What day?
Yeah, just
Thursday.
I think Wednesday,
What day
Thursday.
is
Thursday.
it? Wednesday, Thursday.
No, 3 on
okay.
3. I thought 3 on 3 was this on Wednesday.
First day of free agency. Here it is. Okay. So
Free
yes,
agency
that'd be
is
a 3 on 3.
Thursday. No, Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, okay. So there you go. You gotta search just to get a friggin' date on here, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's like
I'm just happy about it.
like one of
I'm
those
happy
apps.
with
I
developmental camp.
follow Amanda Stein's account. That's how I know everything.
Gotcha.
That's a good resource.
Maybe I'll
like
get
these shoes I
a
wear.
Twitter one day or something. I don't know. Either way, I had to find it. Now we know. This week, developmental camp. Just very excited to see these boys play.
Show your shoes, boys. Show your shoes.
I'm not wearing any shoes right now, so very excited to see these boys play though, and see the hunger. I want to see the hunger coming from this team. Got a lot of spots out there for people to earn. You know, Tatar, Janssen. We're talking about Zacha possibly not being gone. You know, they're all gonna. I think they're both in their last year of their contracts. Do they get shipped at some point? It's going to make some room for some people. Who's going to make an impression? Opportunities there, gentlemen.
Yep.
Go make your name
Big
for
time.
the NHL.
Big time.
I'm trying to find the full
Good.
screen
Sam?
today. Hold on a sec. Oh, hold on a sec. I'm trying to find that graphic. Ah, here we go. I have really not much to say other than this is going to be a very interesting week to see if Tom Fitzgerald's going to stand pat or he's going to pivot. Is he going to, continue to build? Will he get another goalie? Is he looking for a third stringer? There are rumors that he's still shopping around. Considering, at least having conversations once free agency starts. It should be interesting. We will be covering it the best we can. Most likely, it will be at 9 p.m. Eastern this week. Also, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the State of the Fan Address. Most likely, we'll be recapping the day of free agency when it starts. And also, we'll have development camp and all that kind of good stuff here. And I think I speak for all of us. We can't help but thank all of our fans that listen and watch our podcasts. I show the guys the numbers every day because we see the numbers. We're hitting new records, and not only just with our fan base, but we're starting to really cross-pollinate with the rest of the NHL because just based on the numbers that we're looking at, the podcast downloads, the viewership, that we're starting to get a Canadian base that's starting to latch onto this podcast.
We love Canada.
We do. We love everybody. That's what
I like Rush.
That was your speech.
I like Rush. I like things.
But and we. Those downloads and those views don't happen without you. And, I want to reiterate that our fans are awesome. The ones that came out to Enzo's, Mike from South Jersey that came to Enzo's. There was another guy and his kid. And I know a lot of you went to the Stone Pony, but I saw a lot of you that went to the Stone Pony were also watching and listening to our podcast while they were down there. And that means a lot. You're still thinking about us. You're still commenting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we really appreciate that. So On that note, we're going to drop the podcast at midnight. Just keep the alerts on your phone ready when we go live. If there's breaking news, if there's something going on, we'll have it covered. Even Scotty was double shifting, getting off of work, doing Devils After Dark last week.
Yeah, don't forget West Coast time over here.
Yeah,
your 9 o'clock is only my 6 o'clock. So, yeah.
But you know,
maybe we'll have to do one for developmental camp too, because I'm pretty pumped about it. So maybe we'll definitely do Devils After Dark for one of the developmental camp days.
If we need a double shift, I'll talk to you after the podcast. If we need after the State of the Fan address, if you want to go, we could go. I'm all about it because right now, I mean, heck, YouTube Live, we're at our peak numbers right now as we're closing the podcast. That's how awesome our fans are. Yeah. Also, again, happy birthday to Chico Resch. He's a great friend of the podcast. Talk to him all the time. Birthday. He's doing well. He's happy. All right. Till next time, let's go Devils.